Greetings, fellow Ghibli fans. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And Jacob Wile.
There are few names in the field of animation that inspire awe and admiration like animation master Hayao Miyazaki. To properly pay tribute to the man's illustrious career, we've embarked on a 3-year journey through his films, seeking enlightenment along the way. May you find it with us this May-Azaki. Hayao.
Ayo. May-Azaki go. Ayo.
No.
Oh,
Yay.
so cringe.
Oh,
All right, folks. So tonight we're talking about Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind. This is the second feature film directed by Hayao Miyazaki. It's not quite Ghibli yet, but it's very much kind of like the unofficial spiritual first Ghibli movie in many ways. Let's see. So Jacob, you and I both saw this for the first time. Dragon, you are already familiar with it. You want to go first, Dragon, as far as like thesis?
I can.
Go ahead.
So, believe it or not, when I did my my Miyazaki watch through in anticipation for future Miyazaki's, basically I had watched everything but Castle of Cagliostro, which I didn't have until probably the end of last year, which I saved for this occasion. I was basically Nausicaa. I was probably my least favorite Miyazaki film. I want to be clear. Very important film, beautiful looking film, very key in the creation of Ghibli. I think on the rewatch I appreciate it more. I do. Still, it's not my favorite only in the sense of I think the other ones kind of like brought something a little bit more to the table, brought something a different flavor to the table. I just kind of like the other ones in terms of there's so many great ones to pick from, but this is very much the prototype. I like to call this one like the prototype Ghibli film of tomorrow for Princess Mononoke specifically. It's the prototype Mononoke.
That's pretty much what Tiki said to me before we went live.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Anyway, but did they use the whole Disney compare the whole prototype Ghibli film tomorrow thing too?
Yep, I got that one.
All right, so
Epcot.
yeah. So Miyazaki, again, this is very much Miyazaki doing, environmental film. The themes are very strong. Again, solid foundation for Miyazaki. A lot of the things we know Miyazaki for. It's a great start. Just not my favorite because the later films dazzled me, so much, but again, rewatching it, I think I found a great appreciation for it, mainly like I see how it earned its Valley of Flowers, so to speak. I see how it earned it. It's toxic flowers, but still, I see it earned it.
All right, so I'm gonna say this much before I say anything else. I think the animation of this movie is fucking beautiful. Like, genuinely, especially considering its age, I really do think it might be one of the absolute most well animated Ghibli films or Miyazaki films. That being said, Dragon, I am on the same page as you. It is easily my least favorite Miyazaki movie, and I'm probably a little bit more negative on it, honestly. Oh man.
Let me ask you that. Do you have one question for you?
Okay.
Do you like it more than Castle of Cagliostro?
Oh no, definitely not. Absolutely not.
Okay, that's what interests me because these are the two prototype Miyazaki films. I was wondering where you come down.
I mean, the thing is, Castle Cagliostro is like it's all like it's kind of like that Spielberg thing, right? Like it's a movie directed by Miyazaki. It's not a Miyazaki movie.
Yeah.
But like, no, I'd watch Castle Cagliostro like 5 times over before I watched this again. Honestly.
Okay, that's interesting. All right.
So. Man, I think one of the issues here is you're absolutely right, Dragon. Like, it's an unfair comparison because Princess Mononoke, like, for my money, really is the Miyazaki magnum opus, but yeah, it stands in its shadow pretty hard. I just I found it hard to get into the characters. There are good performances in the dub. Like, obviously, we have Mark Hamill and we have Patrick Stewart, two great performances.
Mhm.
I couldn't stand Alison Lohman, though. I couldn't stand. Oh my god! Like, I was her performance is rough here, and I think my biggest issue is that, I think the first act has some good character stuff, right? But like as it goes on, it just kind of devolves, and I don't really feel the characters all that much. I really don't feel the story. To me, this story is like, because it's adapted from the manga, I just think it's too convoluted for its own good, and it's just throwing a lot of shit at you at a really rapid pace. And maybe I could, like, honestly, I had to start this one over like an hour in just because I was kind of lost in the story. And I got to tell you, that didn't really help. Like, I don't know, man. I just had a hard time following this one. And
You know what,
maybe,
though?
what?
It might be a first watch thing, man. Maybe that's it.
No, I was gonna say it might be, but I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think clearly the biggest hallmark of this movie is the animation, like,
Yeah.
without a doubt. It's, for me, like, everything else about it, including the score, which we're going to get into it in the background. This is obviously a big landmark score for Miyazaki. Is just kind of like, it's sort of the rough sketches of what a true Miyazaki masterpiece would look like. So yeah, it's hard to get too invested into it. Like I said, like Castle Cagliostro, like, it feels nothing like an actual Miyazaki movie for the most part, but it's just such a fun ride. Like, it's genuinely just really, really entertaining and really well paced. This, I don't know, it's like it throws a lot of stuff at you, but at the same time, I really struggled with this one, guys. I really, really struggled with this one. I'm not gonna lie. All right, Jacob, where do you land on this?
The funny thing is, I'm kind of in the middle of all of you guys. It is. We're all in pretty much agreement. It's probably my least favorite of the Miyazaki films so far, too. So, I mean, that's not just like. And again, I will say with Tiki and probably with Dragon as well, the animation is top notch. Animation is one of the main reasons to watch this. The animation is gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's like even like, and one of the scenes later was animated by Hideaki Anno, who, funnily enough, would go on to create Studio Gainax and things like Neon Genesis Evangelion, and would actually voice the main character in The Wind Rises many years later.
Oh, that's funny.
So kind of full circle in a way. but that's more of a background kind of thing. But yeah, I'm kind of on the same boat as Tim. Kind of on the same boat. The plot is it's definitely there, and I was kind of worried that I was gonna be alone and not fully understanding what was going on.
No, I was struggling hardcore, bro. I was struggling.
and I only have the first watch to go on. I didn't do a rewatch. So maybe Dragon's theory will be proven true, and that maybe it would be better on a rewatch, and I'm sure it probably will be. And I wouldn't go as far as to call it rough, because, like I said, as Tiki said, like the first hour, like the first hour got me, like it went through like that. But then
I feel like once she leaves the titular Valley of the Wind, that's where my story issues kind of come into play. Honestly,
it's like up until that point, it was pretty great.
Yeah, I can sign off on that.
So, like I said, I still enjoyed it, but again, I would still probably say that my personal favorite is still Howl's Moving Castle. But I still have two more Miyazaki films I haven't watched yet, so maybe that'll be supplanted.
That movie is delightful and features anime bacon, so it's pretty good.
I mean, that's the most important factor of all, right?
Yeah, and that's considering there's a movie that actually features literal talking bacons.
True,
Oh
it
my God.
does.
And then there's also a movie that's hyper fixated on ham.
Yeah,
Yep.
Miyazaki's got a thing with pigs and pig-based products.
I mean,
I still would love to see Hayao
Spirited-
Miyazaki meet Miss Pig. I still really want to see that.
and in Spirited Away,
God.
in Spirited Away, Chihiro's parents turn into pigs.
True. This is true. It's a running motif.
So yeah. Overall, my point is, I'm kind of in the same boat as Tiki and Dragon here.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
I liked it, but it is easily my least favorite. But it's not entirely bad.
No, it's not a bad movie at all. It's too fucking gorgeous looking to be a bad movie in any sense of the word. It's just too complicated for its own good. That's my main issue with it.
And I will issue a correction I made last time when we talked about the previous movie we did. Like, technically, it is pronounced Cagliostro, as we brought up. It's not Cagliostro. It is.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. The G is like supposed to be silent, but it's like, it's got, again, to us stupid Americans, it's Cagliostro. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but technically the correct they did have it transliterated correctly. It is supposed to be Cagliostro.
There is, however, a typo in that movie. When they write down the sign Cagliostro, apparently there's like in some of the shots, like the spelling changes.
Huh. All right.
Also, I want to throw in really quick, the reason why this is the last Miyazaki movie that I've gotten to is, Dragon, you're going to love this. I don't know if you know this. I have a phobia of giant insects, man. I really do not like the concept of giant insects.
I remember you have the phobia of the giant plant, the giant carnivorous
the man-eating plants, the carnivorous plants, yeah. Basically, I don't know. It's just I don't like insects in general. I don't like anything that has that many legs, and when you like magnify it, ugh. But honestly, here's the thing: is that like I said, with the animation is so pretty that literally wasn't even an issue for me at all.
Well, yeah, it's like portraiture come to life, man.
Right. Okay.
And it's kind of interesting that the Ohm were mostly just static paintings, and then their front legs were the things that were actually animated.
Still love that. That was still such a great idea.
Uh-huh. And it does save on animation.
Well, yeah.
Because apparently, from what I understand, and Dragon may get into the background, the budget wasn't very high on this thing.
Wasn't very high-o on this thing.
Oh God.
Well, yeah. Also, it's kind of interesting. Years later, when Miyazaki did his first adventure in the CGI with the Board of the Caterpillar, it's kind of a similar principle in terms of how to animate that character, only with CG applied versus the stationary, animation.
All right, so Dragon, this is a pretty dense movie, both as far as plot and I imagine as far as background. So why don't you get into it?
Okay, so Cagliostro, Cagliostro, as we stupid Americans say, or Cagliostro, however you like to take it, didn't perform well financially, which really made things hard for Miyazaki to get feature director work as he had hoped for. So, because he had worked in TV, and that was pretty much his bread and butter at the time. So he's still working on animation, which he loved. And then, again, we mentioned episodes of Lupin the Third and all that. So he'd been doing that and getting other, directing gigs for TV. But the man had feature aspirations, and Cagliostro, again, he was very humble about it. He just kind of lucked into like, oh, I can be the director. Okay, cool. And that was his first dipping a toe into it. So I kind of mentioned this in the background last time. This is kind of our bridging mechanism here. So essentially, he was kind of doing press for Castle Cagliostro, and he met Toshio Suzuki on that. And Toshio Suzuki, he was with Animage magazine, and around that time, they met him, and they had kind of a famous, like, kind of an old friends encounter where Miyazaki was very grumpy to him, like, "No, don't take my picture. I'm animating, Suzuki. Stop bugging me."
It is kind of funny that, like, considering how often we see Miyazaki now, that he once was it's hard to believe him as once being not an old man.
Yeah.
Even hard to imagine without the beard, but there was a time.
Yep.
God, you're right.
Yeah,
He just seems like that kind of person who would be like, who has been like an old man since he was born.
absolutely. Anyway, so the point being, so they kind of met each other, and it was like a thing where they eventually became good friends. And the big thing that helped them become good friends is that Toshio he basically promoted Casa Cagliostro, which really helped that movie, and from a merchandising standpoint and everything, giving it press. And he basically did an article on Miyazaki and kind of showing him as the wonderkin that he was. So they met each other, and then basically Toshio was kind of like the guardian angel of Miyazaki, being the producer that he is he would end up being for Ghibli and everything. Basically, he's like the Steve Jobs, as it were, to Pixar. Anyway, basically for Ghibli here, if you have like your foundational members, that's kind of what his role ultimately was.
Uh-huh.
So again, so we had access to Animage with made manga and stuff. So basically, says, okay, look, you want to direct features? Here's what we do. Basically, there was like this weird proviso in Japan for the longest time, way back in the day, and it was that you can't just directly pitch like, hey, I want to do an animated movie. We want to make an animated feature. We have an original idea we would like to make as a movie. Like, no, we don't do that. We adapt manga. We adapt an existing property like Lupin the Third into a movie. So that was the problem. So the solution was,
That's
hey,
really funny considering the actual trajectory of his career.
exactly. So this was the big innovation. Okay, so this was the foot in the door here. So the idea was like, okay, Toshio says, Hayo, what if we did a manga? What if you, because he did manga as well, it had been a while, but he had done it, says, hey, why don't you create a manga for more or less for the movie you would like to do? And if it becomes a hit, then they have the reason to turn us down. And he says, okay, Miyazaki, he never just says yes to things. He always says, okay, I'm going to do it on these conditions. This early, the man knew how big a sensation he was going to be to some degree. The man had a humble ego, if that makes any sense. The man was just very steadfast in his beliefs. Essentially,
I am exceedingly humble.
exactly. So essentially, So essentially, the way it worked is that Miyazaki said, "Okay, I have three conditions. Okay, the manga will go on hiatus when I'm animating TV stuff because his passion is animation. Like, okay, if I get an animation gig, This happens notoriously in manga all the time. There'll be like delays and holds because the artist is either going through something or they're working on something else. So not crazy. Then the other one is like, okay, I get to draw whatever I want. I get to make the manga whatever I want. If they don't like it, they can cancel the book. No problem. No harm, no foul. But it's just the whole thing. Look, I get to do what I want. Typical Miyazaki. The third condition, it's always threes with this guy. The third condition, it can't be adapted as an anime series, because I do that enough already. It can't be done as an anime series. It has to be done as a feature, which is what he wants to do. He wants to do the animated feature. So these were his three conditions that you said, absolutely, Hayo, absolutely. So anyway, so initially Miyazaki was building kind of the manga. He was kind of adapting, and believe it or not, I don't know if it was I think it was an American comic. There was this comic called Rolf, like Rolf the dog, pretty much. Rolf, and it was, essentially they said, no, we can't just adapt this. We can't just adapt I'm pretty sure it was an American comic. We can't just adapt this American comic. We have to do something more grand. So basically, Miyazaki took elements from this comic and kind of retrofitted the elements that they liked into an original story, which was Nausicaä. Nausicaä is borrowed from the Odyssey. The name Nausicaä is one of the characters in the Odyssey. So, point being, does the manga. The only reason he even was able to do the manga is initially he was gonna kind of quit at a certain point, realizing, I like doing this, but it's never gonna work because the detail I'm putting into it, I'll never be able to do this and do animation and do everything at the same time. So the compromise is, okay, can I do it in pencil? Says, yes, Hayo, do it in pencil, whatever it takes. He did in pencil. No one complained. Everyone loved it. Huge hit manga in Japan. Everyone loved this manga. It went nuts for it. So that's all the proof they need. Like, okay, you get to make your animated movie. The problem is you have less than a year to make the film.
Of course.
Yep. It's always something. You have less than a year to make the film. It's pre Ghibli.
Especially considering how that's pretty much also what happened with Castle of Cagliostro.
Exactly. Miyazaki doesn't balk at short deadlines. He just says, all right. But, he plays hardball, though. So think about this. You have less than a year to make the movie. It's pre-Ghibli. Ghibli isn't a thing yet. This is, again, we're in the proto-Ghibli era. And, Toei and TMS, they're a no-go. They can't help them out in the animation on this. They can't do it because they're looking at this deadline. Look, we were lucky enough to make our deadline on Kazakage. You're nuts if you think we're taking this on. So they said no, which led to Topcraft being the animation studio. So Topcraft was like, okay. So Nausicaä was ultimately was a 7-volume manga, but that finished by the 90s. We're in 82 during this, so there's barely any of the manga out. And Miyazaki said, okay, look, we're going to adapt roughly the first 2 books, like a volume and a half of the story, which basically means they had to kind of come up with an interim ending. That was the big problem with this movie, essentially, in the storytelling. Like, they really didn't have an ending that kind of changed a lot, so they kind of ended up going with the best option, which we'll get to when I talk about the actual movie.
Actually, that kind of does show.
It does, and we'll get. I'll tell you, there was basically.
Yeah,
again,
it does.
let me put it this way: it's always in threes with Miyazaki, and there is much like the way we're covering our series of Miyazaki. And there were basically 3. There was it's almost like that scene from The Simpsons with the envelopes. Only it's 3 instead of 5, like the plans. Like there were like 3 plans for the ending, and they had to pick one. All right, let's see. So Miyazaki, again, he's like, hey, Miyazaki, we're gonna do the movie. Okay, but I have conditions. Like, oh, great. Hi, what are the conditions now? So the conditions now were, okay, I have to direct, and Takahata must be my producer on this. So Isao Takahata, who's basically his buddy, his ride or die, the guy who was like his fellow animator on Lupin, the series, and all the other stuff. Of course, famously, his best friend. So here was the problem. Takahata had never produced before, and he kept saying no. Like, they proposed it to him often. This is like Miyazaki's friend. He keeps saying no, and it really hurt Miyazaki's feelings after a while. And basically, he and Toshio went out drinking one night, and Miyazaki drunkenly basically kind of got maudlin on him, and he said, like, he's my friend. He's kind of therapist, kind of like. Analysis to Shio here says he's been my friend for like 15 years. So basically, I've dedicated 15 years, almost word for word. I gave him 15 years of my life, and he can't do this for me. Come on, that's pretty much what he said to him. Toshio was motivated by this. What Toshio Suzuki did. This is why the man is like so attributed to Ghibli's success. Toshio, this is like a scene from the studio, mind you. So Toshio, he visits Takahata at his home. I'm imagining the dead of night. Probably not, but just for dramatic purposes, let's say it's the dead of night. He shows up at his door, and he basically takes one last stab at it. Like, come on, please, can you be his producer on this? He won't do the movie without you. He says no, and then Toshio he's had it at this point. He yelled at him. It's like you're friends with this man. You're friends in trouble, and you don't help. Which in Japan, the whole honorifics being what they are. There's some fighting words there, and it was the only time he claims the only time he's ever fought. He's only time he's ever yelled at Takahata, like the legendary Takahata, the man who brought his Grave of the Fireflies. He yelled at this man.
Oh man.
And it worked. It worked wonders. He said, okay, yeah. And basically Takahata's main concern was that he knows Miyazaki. He knows the guy's going to take on too much, and with this deadline, he's going to explode. It's not going to go well. So that's that's the reason he kept saying no. So it was a gamble. But he said yes. So of course, Wheels of Progress, we already kind of discussed how Miyazaki works. A lot of that most likely employed here as well. First collaboration, much like the famous John Williams, Steven Spielberg composer director pairing, we have Miyazaki and Joe Hisaishi doing the score here. Anyway, so a movie, beloved success, the rock the Church of Ghibli was built on. Of course, people loved this movie when it came out. It was a sensation because, again, based on a popular manga, people showed up in droves to watch it. And so basically that's on the Japanese side of things. On the American side of things, this is something, a little footnote here. And we've kind of covered this with Princess Mononoke appropriately enough. And it's so interesting that these movies are so locked in with each other if you think about it, okay? Because the reason this thing happened with Mononoke is the reason it happened here. So originally when the American dub of this movie was put together, they cut it down tremendously. They cut the movie down. And this upset Hayao Miyazaki greatly. This is like the only time he was powerless with like the edit when they they adapted it stateside, did the American dub. The only time this ever happened, because the second time they tried to do this to him was Mononoke, and famously with Mononoke, he well, Toshio actually gets the credit for this as well. Miyazaki was just kind of by association. Shio Suzuki sent a katana to Harvey Weinstein, of all people, and basically said no cuts.
Oh, I remember hearing about this.
So,
Yeah.
So that is why that happened, because they were threatening to do it to him again. Miyazaki was so hit the first time that happened, and then he sends Weinstein like the like the threatening, like, hey, if you got my movie, I got you.
I mean, I just feel like that just gives Miyazaki just Hollywood street cred for life, dude.
It does. So anyway, so then years later, when Disney finally, they handled the adaptations and the dubs for the movies properly, like after the Mononoke era, which again Disney kind of had hands on, but ultimately when they actually went back and they were doing the dubs and everything, Disney went back and they fixed as a show because they loved Miyazaki and they wanted to be in his good graces, and they should. They basically, look, we're gonna do the dub for Nausicaä in all its glory. Not going to make any edits or anything. We're just going to adapt it properly, which is basically what they did. And yeah,
there's one actually really notable dub between the manga, or I'm sorry, the dub and the subtitle version, and that is the toxic jungle in the dub version is the it's something different. I forget what it is. Do you know offhand, Dragon?
I mean, I don't know what the sub. Here's the thing: I know it's called the Toxic Jungle in the dub. You're saying it's something else in the subtitle.
It's something else in the anime. Yeah. Or I'm sorry, in the like regular in the subtitled version. Yeah.
I am not sure unless you saw that. So I'm blanking.
Well,
on
I
that.
did. I told you I had a problem with Alison Lohman's voice acting, so I did. Like when I started it over from the halfway point, I turned on the sub version. I'm not gonna lie.
All right. Anyway. Okay. Anyway, so that said, I think any comments we want to read before we dive into this, or you just want to save them for later?
Yeah. No. We'll
according to the Ghibli wiki, it's called the Rotten Sea.
Ah.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. Okay. So Code Geass is saying, I thought that I think that Valley of the Wind is retroactively thought of as a Studio Ghibli film, like how Space Ghost Coast to Coast is actually thought as adult film. Yeah, that's like a weird comparison, but an oddly accurate one.
Not a bad way of putting it. There are worse ways of putting it. I think you hit on something.
Okay. Surprising nobody. Hayao Miyazaki is one of my favorite directors, and then I'm just glad that your least favorite Hayao Miyazaki film isn't The Wind Rises, because that would have broken my heart. I've only seen The Wind Rises once, but it's definitely in my top half. I would say it's not in my top 5. It's definitely not my favorite, but it's definitely not in my least favorites either.
Yeah, Code Geass is going to be watching our Wind Rises coverage like a sporting event. I promise you that.
I know, right?
All right, let's dive right into it. So, Nausicaä, Valley of the Wind. So, the post-apocalyptic setting. We have Tony J doing the narration, which I thought was a really good addition that they had with the dub, which was pretty neat. Tony J makes everything better. Yeah.
Although it makes you think there's going to be more than just that opening narration in the rest of the movie, though.
Yeah, but I mean, still, it's Tony J. A little Tony J goes a long way, man. Come on, it's like an old friend.
Yeah,
Dr. Lipschitz, come on.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, so so with the Tony J narration, I love the visual storytelling of the opening credits. This was really good. I like it's almost like hieroglyphics of okay, what has happened in the basically our premise being mankind screwed the world over via these giant these giants that incinerated nature during these 7 days of fire, and this led to 1,000 years later, which big jump. 1,000 years later, we have this toxic jungle with spores that have kind of basically spread and kind of pollute the world. It would seem we got these giant bugs, the ohm, and it's kind of made the Earth somewhat more uninhabitable than it's ever been before. Basically, the giant bugs and the ohm are inheriting the Earth essentially because the Earth is kind of outsing humanity because they mistreated the environment. That's essentially what we have done in the hieroglyphics and the Tony J narration, which I thought was good effective storytelling.
Well, I actually really like the cold open too. I really like the cold open is I believe it's pretty much no dialogue, and it really does just establish like the stakes and like, okay,
Mhm.
like this is a really sort of, like like you said, like humanity is kind of on the brink of destruction here, and just that image of the doll and the and the destroyed village, like the ruins of the village, like it does a really good job establishing itself.
I love the spore. How the spore looks like snowfall to a degree. That whole, it's almost like snowfall mixed with like webbing. Very creepy.
And the first one we see is Lord Yupa.
So Lord Yupa's awesome. Let's just say that Patrick Stewart is an anime character.
I wish Yupa was in more of the movie, honestly, because I thought that in the first half he was really kind of carrying it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Especially when he took the blade from both the knight and Nausicaä.
That was like the coolest thing in the movie.
That's the best scene in the movie. Yeah.
God,
yeah.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
So again, I think with the movie, the very relevant environmental message. Sadly, it's very relevant. Sadly, still, got shades of. It's kind of like shades of Dune. The shorthand for Nausicaä is a lot of people say it's basically anime's Dune. At least on the surface.
I mean, like, yeah, that to me is really surface level, just because like the whole point of Dune is it's kind of like an inverse of the hero's journey, where Paul Atreides very much becomes the bad guy by the end of that series.
So like I said, just more of like an aesthetic.
I don't see that happening for Nausicaä. If anything, I think Nausicaä is a little bit too much of a pacifist.
Oh, sure. I'm just saying, like, on the aesthetic of like the sand, the giant bugs, that kind of,
The aesthetic, certainly.
Yeah, that's the thing. So the comparison I really have for the environmental message, just kind of thing in the movie that really hit me in the right ways was there's a lot of Wall-E in this movie, and I really liked that.
Well, yeah, and even I would say the first like 10, 15 minutes with Nausicaä just exploring and stuff is very Wall-E-esque, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and like it kind of like how it makes you wonder, like it brings up the Ohm and makes you wonder what exactly the Ohm are.
Yeah,
and then when she mentions that it molted, and then she takes the giant eye.
See I love the scale of like the giant Ohm corpse, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, and well,
I'm gonna give Alison Lohman a little bit of a break. Sorry, Jacob. I'm gonna give Alison Lohman a little bit of a break here because, like, I thought that I just think the character talks too much in this opening scene in general, and it is no different in the subtitled version. Unfortunately, and this is something that Miyazaki definitely learned over time. Right? Is that Miyazaki is kind of like a master of silence. Like a master of just letting the world and the atmosphere breathe. And I don't think he's quite gotten the hang of it yet in this movie. Do you guys agree with that?
I think he did it. I think he did it better in Castle in the Sky, which is his next film.
Yeah, for sure. Castle in the Sky is definitely like all right. I feel like as far as story and animation goes, that movie's maybe a little bit less ambitious, but it's definitely more streamlined and fluid as far as like the storytelling.
Well, ambitious. Well, just because the movie's ambitious doesn't make it better or worse.
Oh, I agree. Like I said, I think one of my main problems with this movie is that it is too complicated for its own good.
And again, some of that has to do with the whole. It's the only Ghibli movie. I can't say the only one, but it's predominantly one of the only ones that has like a big is an adaptation of a Miyazaki work, like direct.
Like I said, Lupin the Third, like that hardly counts. That hardly counts. Like that. That's.
I mean,
like,
I'm sure there's like
Lupin the Third is definitely not a Ghibli movie, even in spirit. You know what I mean?
I know that. I'm just saying. I think one of the other like kind of more, not one of the more iconic Ghibli movies, but I can't place which one. I think also had a manga basis, really like a shorter manga, like had like a slight adaptation, but it wasn't like didn't have like an iconic manga like Nausicaä.
I mean, there's quite a few of them that are actually adaptations. Like, and I know like Whisper in the Heart was based on one.
Yeah, that's probably.
I fucking love Whisper in the Heart, dude.
I mean, that's not a Miyazaki movie, but he did technically write that one.
That might be. I'm kind of in the same boat of Schaefer Ellis, where that might be my absolute favorite Ghibli movie, though.
I was gonna say we also have other ones like I think what is it? Howl's Moving Castle technically is an adaptation.
No,
Of
Howl's Moving Castle. Yeah, that's a book adaptation.
That's
yeah.
the thing. So I'd say there have been adaptations, but not like one that's been directly like Miyazaki
Obviously,
wrote the
Tales
thing.
from Earthsea, for better or worse.
Yeah, but you see what I mean? It's like nothing that Miyazaki
no.
directly like wrote that was then adapted.
And both of those are technically English books, like like published by British authors,
which is a little bit more removed. As I guess is what I'm getting at here. We don't have anything that's like directly like okay.
Also,
there's like
Gorilla Varietti, which again, same boat.
Yeah. Okay, you get my point though. So I'm saying we don't have like a thing that the guy actually, you know. So the point being, there's like a lot of lore that he's trying to like the first time he's ever had to adapt himself, which may add like the convoluted, or at least like, a lot to cram in there. Plus, it's like story that he is still yet to tell in the manga. So,
all
right. So Lord Yupa again, great character who debatably, I mean, look, I like Nausicaä in this movie. I do. Lord Yupa though, again, you can make an argument that had the movie been refocused, he would be our next choice to be the lead of the movie. Let's be honest. Lord
okay,
Yupa
Nausicaä to me is one of the biggest problems with this whole movie. I'm just going to break it down really quick. Like, again, I hate to dogpile on Alison Lohman, but I really don't like the voice acting performance. But more importantly, though, I just feel like she's too much of a pacifist. Like, it's like there's
what do you have against pacifists, man?
Like, but I'm saying like the main character, Princess Mononoke, right, is so much more layered, so much like he's got so much more going on. And then also, I'm really not a fan of this movie's like whole prophecy storyline, dude. Really not.
Okay, I'm with you with look, I'm with you with the prophecy. We'll get there with the prophecy. All right, let's put a pin in the prophecy.
There's one particular thing about the prophecy that really fucking bugs me, but yeah, we will put a pin in it. All right.
But yeah, the prophecy did kind of feel like one of the more forced elements in here.
Yeah, I agree. I have no qualms with you about the prophecy. The prophecy was kind of crap, and it was kind of.
So that's honestly why I really wish that she wasn't the main character. Yeah.
Okay, so regardless,
obviously prophecies can be done well. This just wasn't one of the cases.
No, it was not. But Lord Yupa himself, though, again, I love that he's like this Errol Flynn kind of swordmaster character. He's like the leader of the valley while the king's ill, and he's very well respected. Like, name my baby Lord Yupa. He actually thoughtfully is considering it, all that kind of stuff. You know,
as I said, that's the kind of stuff I liked about this movie. Like, the world felt lived in. That's one of the best things I can say about it, is the world definitely felt lived in.
Yeah, like later on we got Frank Welker.
With Yupa, it's like you definitely get a sense of this guy's history, right? Like this dude has seen some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, let's see. Well, so Nausicaä and herself. I mean, I liked her as protagonist, not counting the whole problem. The problem thing I can divorce from it because it feels like it was so tacked on. It's like, well, it doesn't really take away or add to it. It's just waste screen time.
I agree.
Well, I mean, I thought she was a good protagonist because I liked the idea that she's.
And it's like, gee, I wonder who the prophesized person will actually be.
Yeah, it was very transparent. Well, yes, it was very stupid. It was very. Okay, Hayao was a young Miyazaki starting out. He didn't think it through. All right, but anyway. The point being, she's asking the big questions in that she's seeking the solutions and trying to conserve the natural resources. I love the little snow globe bit that she did when she took like the eyelid thing off. It was kind of nice.
And she brought it home for the kids.
Yep, one of the cool things. The glide. We got to talk about the glider, guys. Come on, how great was that glider?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely like a great part of the movie. And then obviously, like, because here's the thing: it's like I didn't really know about the glider going in, so I just assumed like the flying element of this movie was going to be like flying insects and stuff like that. But no, it's like we get the glider, which is awesome, and it's a central part of the character, and then we also get like zeppelins and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's not like fully formed Miyazaki flying machines, but it's definitely like there's definitely elements of it there for sure.
Other things we have, the fun Miyazaki staples are starting to come into focus here. We have the air, the air travel. We got. So here's something I really liked. I like Teto. So Teto is like the little fox squirrel. And I love the animation and like the moment, and I like how this kind of comes back thematically and points in the movie. Like she calls it back later with one of our basically our antagonists, one of our antagonistic characters, and then later on, ultimately, it facilitates how she tames the savage beast, which basically is kind of what saves the day in the end. So Teto bites her, and then she lets it bite her, and they bond. It like licks the wound. Like the animation on this little fox squirrel is adorable, and it's just a great foreshadow for demonstration of basically what she's trying to demonstrate to everyone. And like, okay, look, this is how we basically an example of how we coexist with nature. Like, yes, it's going to try and hurt us, but if we make peace with the fact that we can't control it, it'll respect that. It's kind of a mutual respect kind of thing. And again, foreshadows her fate in Act 3, where she kind of takes a wampum from nature, and then nature, heals her. Kind of tries to heal her wound. So I really liked that. And it was concentrating a very memorable little bit of animation that then carried through thematically to the movie.
I'm just wondering if later Miyazaki would have ended it a bit differently with her not actually surviving.
He was never satisfied with the ending. By the way, we should mention that again. He didn't really. Again, the manga did not have an ending. Exactly. So that's like Miyazaki. He literally, the manga has like an ending, like 7 volumes that haven't been written yet. So he had to end it somewhere. It's like, okay, I guess this is, and he was like presented with endings. He didn't even come like Toshio and the writer like, okay, here's some endings. What do you think? He's like, I don't like any of these, but I guess this one. That's essentially how it went.
I mean, the thing is, like, I feel like story-wise, like the movie pretty much wraps up. It's just like the actual final beat of the movie is like there is no final beat. It just keeps going and it just ends.
Like the movie just kind of stops.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like, and we're out of time. Let's play it over the credits. Yeah.
Right.
So Nausicaä, I like that she's the very inspiring optimist that she is, and impacts the village in positive ways. She's trying to put an end to war and conflict and everything.
She's a beloved princess, and it's shown that she's quite experienced with the Ohm too. Like she has her ways to calm them down.
Which, by the way, come the time of Legend of Korra season 2, not a popular season, so maybe there's a correlation. I don't know. We had Soothing the Spirits, which I think was a love letter to Nausicaä, along with the gliding in Avatar. So I think there's some elements. Of course, Kanitsuko and DiMartino, they were Miyazaki fans. They were Ghibli fans. They liked to put nods throughout. Yeah. So Obaba, voiced by the wonderful Tressa MacNeille, admittedly, though, the poster child for the problem of this movie, which is that stupid.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but I still really like her characterization, though. And obviously, like Miyazaki, he's got a thing for feisty old witch ladies.
Yep.
This is it's cool. Like, it's cool to see just how far back that trope goes. Because I assume, for some reason, I just assumed that Castle in the Sky was the first one to do it. But no, there she is, front and center.
Yeah. Well, again, it's kind of a nod to his mother, ultimately. I mean, that's the thing. In Castle in the Sky, I'm blanking. Dola, Dola was was basically our
pirate.
Yeah, basically our lead pirate character. Yeah, so she was a nod to Miyazaki's mother. Anyway, in terms of the feisty, she was a very very feisty and respected woman, and the idea would sometimes mix it up over kind of the whole world annihilation kind of stuff. But we'll anyway. So let's see. So the scale. So again, our scale. The best way I could describe the scale of this movie too is on broad speaking, aside from the Dune comparison, which very surface level. I think the better comparison is it's very David Lean-esque. The scale with the giants and the Tolmekian airships.
That's an interesting comparison, but I can totally see it. I mean, like here's the thing with the scale is that I genuinely think this is one of the biggest scale things that Miyazaki ever directed, like right off the bat. Do you guys agree with that?
It's pretty big. I mean, I don't know if I'd have to think and stack up something against it. Mononoke was pretty big in scope, but it was kind of concentrated to kind of in a jungle.
Mononoke is basically like a forest and a village.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I mean, it was a big forest.
The Miyazaki equivalent, like Miyazaki's E.T. in some ways when it comes
to that. A lot of Miyazaki films concentrate the locations ultimately. The forest, and Ponyo, it's a seaside town, and then with Spirit Away, it's a it's a bathhouse.
And that castle, like Howl's Moving Castle, was pretty high scale too.
So I think you're pretty on the money with that, Tiki. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is pretty grand sweep. But again, even just like with like the Talmekian airship was like huge, and the Ohm itself, these were giant, big things, and then again set across like giant infinite deserts. It's very, very large and very
yeah, for sure.
very cinematic, very cinemascopy.
Uh-huh.
So speaking of which, here's where I really see your points, guys, on the whole like the things that definitely require a rewatch. Because I was there with you with a lot of this, and I think one of the big elements, aside from the stupid prophecy, was the Talmekian airship crash was a great sequence. However, we convoluted stuff here. So Nausicaä tries to save.
There's so much that happens in like 10 minutes of screen time, right? Like. It kind of throws you off guard because like the first 15, 20, like it's Wally-esque, it's like we're exploring the world. I wish she talked a little less, but it's very atmospheric. And then they get to the village and we're doing the world building, we're introducing characters. Then all of a sudden, as soon as the airship crashes, like, and we're off to the races, plot. Go ahead, Dragon. I'm sorry.
So I'm saying, like, Nausicaä here's a plot element I still really think goes over a lot of people's heads. We call it back later, but it's like the way it plays out, because it sounds like this character actually died, but we don't really establish. I mean, it's barely conveyed, I think, that she died. So she tries to save Lestelle of Pedjite, the princess of Pedjite. And basically she's trying to revive her and then kind of stops. And you think, but it didn't really read to me that she was dead in that moment. Then later on, okay, I guess she did die, maybe.
Right. It didn't really explain too much about really what was going on there.
So that's what's confusing. So a Talmekian airship with a princess from this lady from the third land. And here's the thing: in the manga, they had to trim. There was another warring nation, which we kind of have here with Pedjite, but they had to really. I don't know if Pedjite just wasn't in the manga, or basically Pedjite was a fill-in for the other warring nations. They trimmed it to the essentials, and I think the valley was also kind of like. It used to be with the other warring nation, but they trimmed it down. That's where things get convoluted. That's the source of the convolution in terms of like our warring factions here, which I think they trimmed it down to the essentials in a way I think you can track on a rewatch. But I'm just saying it could have been a lot worse. Anyway, here's the plot point. Okay, this makes sense so far. They discover a giant, basically a giant fetal warrior pod, giant warrior fetus from the guys. Basically, the big giants that basically are responsible for the 7-day fire that basically put the kibosh on humanity. That's essentially what this thing was. Set all the forests ablaze, and that's why the world is we're getting the toxic jungles and everything. So one of these things, like a fetus of one of these things, was found. And what I like about this is kind of getting into Miyazaki's daddy issues, much like the Spielberg daddy issues. So, of course, Miyazaki, very anti-war.
Daddy issues.
Yes, Tiki.
Do you know where that comes from?
So hit me with it again, the specifics.
It's a title of like one of the worst episodes of Lost.
What is the title?
All the best cowboys have daddy issues. It's like one of the worst episodes of Lost.
Okay.
Anyway, okay. Running gags aside here. What I'm getting at is that Miyazaki, another staple of Miyazaki with his daddy issues, much like Spielberg's daddy issues, is that he's very anti-war, which obviously is a theme of this movie, but it's his father, he had a lot of issues with his father because his father, the way he saw it as a boy, was his father was kind of a war profiteer, which the next movie we're going to be talking about really gets into. Essentially, the whole thing where his father, I believe he designed planes and everything, and that's where the fascination comes from. And Miyazaki saw it as a positive thing, but ultimately he was serving a war, which was a very negative thing. That's kind of where the strife comes from. Anyway, so Miyazaki, very pointed wartime views there, and what I like is that the giant fetus, and just the giant in general, especially by the end of the movie, it's an allegory for the atom bomb, which I love. It's like the nuclear arms race. It's basically, this is like, what if Chris Nolan directed the Lorax? That's essentially what this movie is, if you really think about it. It's kind of like the Oppenheimer version of the Lorax. It's environmental, but
I feel so bad for Christopher Nolan nowadays. By the way, like I think that I don't want to like date the podcast, but yeah. Anyway,
But yeah, so the point being, I like that the giant is kind of a fill-in for this kind of relevant thing, and to a lot of the Miyazaki stuff, and just in general to the war, the arms race that I think that's we're always perpetually kind of still in the midst of. I just like that we kind of use that as the fill-in for the story in a natural way that made sense. It didn't feel preachy, but it definitely felt like you're paying attention. It's there.
And say it with me, it almost still comes out of nowhere.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Like, why do they have this? How do we know we can hatch this thing?
Where did they come from in the first place?
Yeah, that whole
It's like the movie kind of implies that they were sent by the Earth and then the bugs came and took over. It's like, okay, but what happened? What is with these giant fire things are just under the Earth waiting to strike down humanity?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like, is that what? I'm just wondering, did I actually miss that detail or?
No, that's the thing. It's just like per the little kind of tapestry at the start of the movie. It's the whole thing of like, okay, there happen to be these giants that burned down humanity, and the bugs came.
I mean, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Ish. In terms of this movie, I guess it makes sense.
So this is like one of like 4 big like massive exposition dump world building like plot, that we get again in like 15. I just think that the pacing is just so wonky where it's like, the first 20 minutes is pretty close to what you would usually get with Miyazaki pacing, right? But then after that, it's just like, nope, fucking buckle up, motherfuckers,
So speaking of that, here's where things get really good. Okay, Death of Nausicaä, the Tolmekians basically. So here's here's where it goes from fuzzy to pretty clear and awesome. Okay, so again, we have the airship crashes, which is awesome. Things happen plot wise we don't fully grasp, but they're there. There's a giant fetus, which basically, I guess, to kind of spell it out again. Atom bomb is there. That's what they were transporting until they were shot down and crashed. So that's basically our plot point there. And the Tolmekians try to reclaim their property. And so the Tolmekians invade the valley, and that's where things get interesting. The Tolmekians show up, and they kill a sick king in bed. They kill Nausicaa's father, and this leads to Nausicaa, our pacifist, showing her swordsmanship, man. She's about to kill those guys.
Like, it's a quick fight, man, but I really love the choreography in this fight.
Yeah,
she's even upset later. That's like the urge about upset about the urge to kill that she had.
I know, and I love that. That's what I'm saying. It's like this is where the movie really comes alive.
But it also did have like as you guys pointed out earlier, the best scene in the movie where Yupa like took a blade from both the enemy and Nausicaä.
Yeah, which is fantastic. So again, it's just great. Lord Yupa again. He's he's separating them. He he intentionally gets cut by the blades, and she's never given in to a violent impulse like that before. It kind of really shakes her, and there's all gold right now.
And she really doesn't again for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I mean she gets close to it like towards the end, but she's only using it as like a threat to put it like to those morons like who shot her. She says, "Hey, look, we gotta undo the mess you created here. I'm not playing around."
Yep. And that was after she got shot herself.
I know. That's what I'm saying. She's like an awesome pacifist, man. She's like takes a lot of damage here, and she just keeps on going. That's my kind of pacifist.
Yeah. Even if that scene itself, say with me again, doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Well, again, we'll cross that bridge.
Yeah.
So the Tolmekians, they are led by some really interesting characters. We have Kushana, strong woman, missing limbs, and I love the scene later on. By the way, it's so casual. It's just, we reveal that she has like we assumed it was like metal armor around the arms and legs, but she has this really great line. It really shocked me. I completely forgot until the rewatch. It says only the lucky man who will be my husband will see there's a lot more than that. It's like, God, she's missing a lot. Yeah.
And it's Uma Thurman saying that. So.
Wonderful Uma Thurman, yes.
And this character, I feel like this character might be like one of the closest, like direct one-to-one parables with Mononoke, right? Like it's very close to the same kind of idea for the villain in Mononoke. A
lot like Lady Eboshi,
yeah. Yeah.
So also we have Kurotawa, if I'm saying his name right. Kurotawa is voiced by Chris Sarandon, who's basically playing his character from Princess Bride, which I love.
I really like his design.
Yeah, he's got again. He looks a lot like Sarandon. I think coincidentally, mind you, but he doesn't have. He feels so much like the character from Princess Bride. I love it. But yeah, so he's fun. I like that he kind of like get the impression he kind of likes Kashana, but he's like mingling with the giant fetus. Like this guy's fun.
It's like his motivations are kind of all over the place too.
I don't know about that. He's second in command. Boss is gone. I'm in charge. Well, it was fun while it lasted. He's just kind of
And then when the boss comes back, he's like, "Well, boss, let's do it."
Yeah, that's the thing. He's not a bad guy. He's following orders and just like he's aligned with the bad guys. He's like he's not going to second guess it though. He's a good henchman.
Yep.
All right, so basically, here's what's great. Again, Miyazaki rarely does purely evil characters, and much like Eboshi, we have this Kushana and the Tomikians. They don't see themselves as the bad guys. They see themselves as trying to survive an apocalypse, which doesn't make them all bad unless they go the whole Negan route. But that's a whole
Right.
They're bored. It's a little borderline. They're not getting there quite yet. They have a lot more restraint. But the idea is that they're moral grays, and they're trying to survive an apocalypse. And
they're trying to bring the Valley of the Wind into it.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're bringing in kind of almost like a neutralist nation of sorts into the conflict. Where basically they're like, look, we're just burning the things that are threatening us. That doesn't make us the bad guy here. Versus what Nausicaa's suggesting, like, hey, let's ask the smart questions. And she's philosophizing things. Which like Nausicaa is, and basically that's what Miyazaki's approach to war is like. What can we do to maybe prevent the war? Instead of just like, hey, let's build some awesome planes to kill people. So and I love how we visually demonstrate this. This is a great scene. It's a great quiet scene. Nausicaa growing the plants in healthy soil underneath the valley, and we discover basically the reason for the toxic jungle and everything. It's like polluted soil from all the burning and all the stuff that's been done during the war.
The revelation that the plants weren't what was toxic. There was the soil that was making them toxic.
Exactly, and of course, I love later on we have the discovery that basically the sand that leads to like this underground chamber in this underground temple in the toxic forest, toxic jungle. It's basically the falling sand is fossilized trees, which would be rich in oxygen and healthy stuff, and basically is why there is a healthy, sustainable thing underground, which could be like a second chance potentially, like in harmony with nature and everything. But again, I like it's the whole it's the circle of life ish, kind of way nature works, where the trees die and then breeds like new life and all that kind of stuff.
That is how trees actually do work. Fires do burn things down, but the ash from those trees makes the soil fertile.
So I just like the botany involved in that. It's just really good. It's good stuff. All right. So
and she was doing when she was doing these things to find a cure for her father's illness, which unfortunately doesn't kind of renders his murder kind of renders all that pointless.
Yeah, now it's just going to be saved for the green-eyed people.
Can I just say, for as cool as the murder of the father is, I do think the whole thing goes down a little abruptly.
Yeah, it was really weird they killed a sick man, ultimately.
Well, especially because it's like, that's not, like, if these people are ultimately, like, trying to bring everyone together, even if they're doing it for, like, hostile, kind of nefarious
It is counterintuitive to, like, hey...
Yeah, that's what bugs me about it. Thank you.
It's probably kind of like I think it was probably more of like a show of power or a subjugation kind of thing.
And you know what, that is very Negan-esque. That is very Negan-esque.
I kind of saw it as more like a subjugation, like this is what we're capable of if you don't join us, kind of.
Yeah, to Jacob's point, it's basically, like, okay, we need to assume leadership because you guys, like, you need to fall in line. We don't have any time to quibble, so you're going to follow us because you have no leaders.
So we're going to kill your king.
It's like a necessary evil thing, which, ultimately would, it's kind of a
I don't know, dude. Maybe it would play better if the guy, like, wasn't, like, on his deathbed. Like,
yeah. Maybe it did feel like a little like we're punching down on the old sick guy, yeah.
But Jill did try to fight back.
Yeah.
So
anyway, so Nausicaa, there was a thing they kind of tried to get in the movie here, and I think it's conveyed pretty well. It might be a leap, but Nausicaa, they kind of go for like a maternal thing in Nausicaa, with the animals, the kids. basically, I think what we're trying to connect is there's something kind of like a Mother Nature thing about her, in terms of who she is. She's kind of in harmony with nature and the bugs and everything. So
Uh-huh.
yeah. She's very, she calms the insects, calms her people. Like I love the bit where, her guys are freaking out, but, oh, we're going to crash in the jungle. We're going to die. And she's like, look, and she takes her mask off, breathing in toxic air and everything. It's going to be okay. And they kind of soothe them. And I say, oh, God, I can't believe I'm breathing all that toxic jungle air. Okay, so we have some action here, kind of Miyazaki's take on Star Wars almost. Got some the Pejite gunship attack. It's very much like we're firing on the giant Star Cruiser kind of thing there. It's kind of neat. It kind of harkens back to George Lucas using the old World War II footage to board a lot of the X-wing fighter stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I guess also the TIE fighter sequence as well, but so Nausicaä and company, they escape the blaze. They bring Kashana with them, which is a great move, and they crash in the toxic. This is kind of a great transition in the action. So they crash in the toxic jungle. I love Kashana. I think one of the great things with Kashana, she has a genuine respect for Nausicaä. Like when Nausicaä saved her from the Ohm and diffused the situation, and she kind of compares it, the whole parallel to the fox squirrel thing, where she says like, "Oh man, you're scared. You're angry and scared like the like the fox squirrel. Like what did you call me?" And she demonstrates. And we see basically she lets the Ohm envelop her, and we have this beautiful flashback animation. So we see the root of Nausicaa's kind of sympathies towards the bugs, which is like as a child, she was playing with the little baby Ohm, which was then killed.
Which is kind of sad.
Yes, we had creepy, very Scott. The sequence felt a little Scott Derrickson-esque with all the hands. We animate all those hands, like reach in take the little baby Ohm from her. Yeah, fear the hands. All right, so here's where things again kind of get a little maybe a skosh muddied, but only because of the earlier thing we did. So we have the pilot from Pejite who fired on them and sent them into the toxic jungle, who's Asbel. So Asbel is voiced by Shia LaBeouf, I believe, right?
Shia LaBeouf.
Very good, Tiki. So, yeah, so Asbel here.
I understood that reference.
Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've listened to that song quite a few times.
Oh, God.
Okay, so the point being, we have our pilot who basically is the plot contrivance here. Like, okay, we've landed in the jungle so we can learn, so we can really spell out what the deal is with the, what they're basically being. If we can harmonize with nature, we can be okay here. So they go through the quicksand, which, like I said, is kind of like the tree's rebirth process, which means the bugs exist to protect these caverns that are actually have safe and breathable air, which basically in turn could save the world if they let the toxic jungle spread enough. Just let it, instead of burning it down, if they let it grow enough and let's go to these caverns underneath, humanity could exist. But mankind's never going to listen or go for that. And basically we spell out through this guy that it's basically mankind's destined to go extinct if it can't coexist with nature, which is a really good premise for the movie and a very Wall-E-esque premise. And I really like
Honest to God, I think this guy makes a better main character than Nausicaä does. I think I think he's got the complexity that Nausicaä lacks. I think he's a little bit more morally ambiguous, but like you're still on his side ultimately. I don't know.
He's good, but again, it's just the whole thing of like, oh yeah, you helped my sister, and well, until she kind of ambiguously died. But I appreciate it.
Look, I'm just saying he has more of an arc, right? Because it's like he starts out like he's literally attacking her at first,
Yeah, no, that's right.
Like that to me is why it comes off as a little bit more like the main character arc of Princess Mononoke, where it's like very much the same thing, where it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like the inciting incident of Princess Mononoke is like kind of on a similar level of kind of morally ambiguous,
Yeah.
Anyways.
So with him though, we should mention this. So he had a really good scene in the movie as well. So when they go to Pejite, together, and they see it now war torn. They have the giant dead Ohm bodies all over the place. The place is a disaster area. And then we meet the mayor of Pejite, who was played by the incomparable Mark Hamill. who's not playing a purely evil character this time, which was always the big crowning achievement he had in the tomes of the Ghibli films. He was like one of the few actually evil Miyazaki characters. So as Muska. So here, I love this performance here. He's not evil, but he's misguided, and he's causing a lot of damage here. His people are using the baby Ohm to lead the stampede to the valley to recover the giant fetus, which again is kind of like the atom bomb they want to, and basically their logic for doing this.
That sentence right there. I'm following it, but that's kind of indicative of how bonkers this plot is.
Yeah.
So I love the
a lot of you, man. This movie asks you to go for just go with a lot of weird shit.
I love the scene between the mayor of Pejite and the Asbel here. Basically, in Nausicaä's kind of bearing witnesses here. He argues that their people aren't as bad as the Tolmekians, who he claims, and this is the idea. This is like Miyazaki boiling down what the problem with war is ultimately. That every side thinks they're right and everything. The idea that the Tolmekians want to take over the world. They've left us no choice. Which is that to itself is like, yep, that's the root of it all right there. It's like, we need the bomb, so they can't use it.
Exactly.
We're not going to use it. We don't want them to have it. So, but again, I love, with a smile, though, he greets Asbel, but there's this callousness and this other obliviousness. He's not evil, but he's oblivious to all of our people. How many died? Oh, don't worry. We'll rebuild. It's like, we'll rebuild? What are you talking about? Look at all this damage you caused by fighting these bugs, man. Also, you could, kidnap a baby, which you shot the heck out of, by the way, which is always creepy. I don't know if you noticed that. That was like the creepy deal. It's bleeding and it has missiles, not missiles, but it has weapons sticking out of it. It's like, oh man, they kicked the crap out of this baby.
Actually,
yeah, if you look at it, it's like he's got spears and stuff and bleeding. It's creepy. But yeah, so I just love that, it's just this crazy plan of we're gonna use it as a carrot, and we're gonna lead all the as a worm on a hook to lead all these Ohm to stampede the valley, which is that's where Nausicaä's people are from. So sorry about that, kid, but we got to get that. Just because the Tolmekians have invaded, your people are screwed. So no joke. It's gonna sound silly, but until we actually do violent things to Nausicaä, this. Her being unable, it's like the girl being unable to go on her little glider and fly home. It felt so violent to me. It felt rough of oh no, not Nausicaä's glider. Let the girl glide. No.
right, yeah.
Because again, her whole identity is wrapped up in this glider. It's like, no, she can't glide. This is bad. No.
It's the Razor Crest dragon.
Yeah.
It is the Razor Crest.
The real tragedy.
Yeah.
Or the Breaking Bad RV.
Yeah.
No.
To this day, the Breaking Bad RV is the death of a vehicle that affected me the most, honestly.
Yeah, but it couldn't fly though.
No, it couldn't. Maybe in heaven.
Yeah.
And as far as cinematic ones goes, Guinevere from Onward.
Yeah. But Guinevere was fine at the end though.
I know. Well, after she was rebuilt.
That's what I'm saying. Guinevere got rebuilt though. The Razor Crest. We had to give it a few days on that one, but still, it was a long period of time though. The Razor Crest was gone.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the ladies of Pejite, again, out of gratitude for her, I guess, kind of saving or kind of at least helping the potentially dead princess of Pejite. I'm still not crazy about that thing, as you can probably tell. So they're grateful for her help there, and everything. So they help Nausicaä escape. And we have some action here. I love Lord Yupa. He shows up in the action again, pulling some Errol Flynn stuff, which is awesome. He shows up and he's I love that he doesn't kill anyone because he's that cool. He didn't even kill anyone. He's pulling his own bladed knife, and he's pulling on the guy. And so you stop your forces, and the guy's very intimidated by him.
His reputation precedes him, basically.
Yes. Cool. So again, little bits here and there. I think that we have really great characterization in our cast here in these little bits. Like Kashana. I'm sorry, I glazed over something real quick I wanted to mention. So with the Mark Hamill character, again, I love the mayor of Pejite. Asbel tries to get Nausicaä to be able to go home and everything before her glider. She gets attacked when her glider gets taken away from her. Asbo pulls a gun on the mayor of Pedgite, and but again, it's this really great tense little thing. But again, the Mark Hamill performance here is like he's not like aggressively like saying get the gun away from the kid. He's trying to reason with him, very rational. I love like again, no one's fully evil in this. It's like the heat of war, but they're making very foolish, short-sighted decisions, but they think it's for the greater good.
It's really interesting. Again, it is really interesting that Miyazaki had that whole like no one is 100% evil thing cemented pretty much from the get-go. Like obviously he's going to subvert it a little bit with his next movie, but not after that it's pretty much all just morally ambiguous more than pure evil.
I mean, the rule of Ghibli is everyone but Muska's. Everyone Muska's evil. Like I guess Muska's like the only evil one in Ghibli. Everyone but.
And he was actually a good villain.
That's the thing. He's like the only evil Ghibli character. He's like the Frollo of Ghibli.
Oh God!
And he was actually a legitimately good villain.
Yeah, no, he's great. All right, let's see. So Kashana, again, kind of a Lady Eboshi-esque moment. I love that she has respect for Nausicaä in that she beats her back to the valley, and she's like, no. I want to see if she's going to make it back. It's like that's like the most she's going to give her. Like I want to see if she's going to make it back. So we're gonna give her like a few hours, almost like a Vegeta waiting. Like let's give Kakarot 3 hours. I want to see if he gets here so I can fight him. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, Frank Welker had a really good. This is to show you, man, with our voice down here. Frank Welker, just a little bit where he talks about like why they respect Nausicaä and everything. It's like look at these old hands, these old hands, and they were beating.
Yeah. That was very effective. Yeah.
Princess Nausicaä said she wouldn't have them any other way, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, let's see. So to Trust McNeil's credit as well. Again, Baba. When she's not like just saying, the prophecy, when she just prognosticates in general, the forest is doomed. It's a pretty good line.
Like when the wind stops blowing.
Yeah, when the valley of the wind has no wind, we are royally screwed.
Yes.
So they're like I like how we kind of spell it out pretty neatly here that we've done controlled burns. You're burning the whole forest, and it's going to take 100 years for that forest to grow back. Do you realize how much you're screwing us over right now, Tomikians, man? Come on.
Excuse me. Wait, sorry, should have muted that. But yeah, it was pretty kind of interesting. His controlled burns actually are a thing in reality. So. And it is a responsible way to clear out some stuff, and some people even do controlled burns to stop other wildfires.
Uh-huh.
But seeing it here, this is obviously what happens when they go unchecked.
Speaking of fire, I mean, I love the hold your fire gag, where it's a pretty serious movie, but it's a little gag where it's like, she's like, Kashana saying, hey, hold your fire, and it's like punching the guy on the head to stop his fire. And it's like one of the few jokes of the movie.
Yep. That was pretty funny.
And so basically, Nausicaä's coming to talk some reasoning to him. Everyone gets the high ground. Nausicaä ends up being shot by these Pedgite idiots, man, who just, again, they're misguided. They shoot her while they're using the baby as bait. And like she's flying right towards him, and they end up shooting her, and Nausicaä's like begging. This is great. Again, Tiki, to give her credit where credit's due, man. With the kind of the martyr pacifist angle for Nausicaä. She's it's a pretty intense scene where she's begging like the baby Ohm's forgiveness while she's like for the past sins and just for humanity's sins, as she's like stopping it from kind of going into the acid water.
I mean, it's like she's got good moments for sure. Like I said, it's like I just think that a lot of the Ghibli protagonists like going forward are a little bit more multi-layered. That's all I'm saying. That's not to say she doesn't have good moments.
Yeah. No, it's. Yeah, anyway, so it's nice when she's like calming the baby, and it's not she calms the baby, but not the stampede.
Mm-hmm.
By taking like the foot in the acid water, which really hurt, by the way. It looked like it hurt.
Yeah, it would. Also, it is kind of bizarre how the outfit she was wearing gets stained blue, but none of the rest of her body gets stained blue.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah,
because apparently her outfit is stained blue by the blood of the baby.
Yeah.
but no, but she somehow just makes it entirely perfect blue.
Yeah, well, again, they're trying to drive home that prophecy, Jacob.
Yeah, I know.
It's the warrior in blue. The golden field.
Yep. So
All right, let's see. So again, I love though in responses again. Nausicaä is just so mad. She pulls a gun. And she's like firing at the feet of those idiots. Just tell, okay, look, you're gonna make this right. You're gonna take me. You're gonna take me and the baby back, so we can stop the stampede from killing everyone. I've had it up to here with this movie. You know, I've been shot. I've got my foot's dipped in acid. No more.
and I'm about to get run over.
Yeah, by a bunch of very well animated bug tanks, man.
Yeah, so she's literally threatening them with a gun, which is
Yeah.
which is like she hates all the killing and everything. She protests that frequently, but she uses guns a couple times as an intimidation tactic.
So we have, so again, we with the animation, we have bugs that look like giant skyscrapers that are like paintings come to life. Already impressive, and they move as quickly as they do. On the flip side, we have the giant, which gets awoken a little early. A little fetal giant awakens early, and it leads to this beautiful, almost TMS Clayface kind of animation of this melting, like giant that is like. I just love that you see this thing is dying with every second that's going by, and it's doing these the epic death beam. Tell me how cool that was.
And that actually was a pretty sick scene actually.
God, it was so cool. It's like firing this beam of utter destruction, but so concentrated, like as like a little almost like a little laser beam across like all the ohm.
And like that, I think that was the scene that Hideaki Anno animated.
Yeah, better have been.
I think he animated like the beam and the explosion or something like that.
Yeah.
Tiki?
What?
I said, what do you
The
think?
death. How do you feel about the death beam, Tiki?
Oh, I mean, you're right that it's very Clayface. It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so ultimately it decomposes, it falls apart with every shot that's fired, and it's like, well, we woke it up too early, and good riddance. So it just falls apart, all bones and
It's like again, it's like not explain why they did explain where they found it, but like how they resurrected it, how it held on for so long. It's like it just kind of is there.
Yeah. I think the better question is how the heck could they resuscitate or revive it using like the valley's limited resources? That's the real question to me.
Another question I have kind of is like, this is the thing that supposedly wiped out humanity all these years ago, right? Like the thing that caused like the 7 days of fire.
That's right.
Why is it taking orders from them?
Well, I think it's because it was revived, and so it's kind of imprinted on them, maybe at least for like the few seconds it's alive.
But you were literally just guessing on that, though. It's like I'm like, again, guys, if I seem like phased out of this conversation, it's because literally like at this point in the movie, I was just lost. I was just enjoying the pretty visuals for the most part.
Yeah. Dragon, do you understand what I'm saying? Though, like, why is it taking orders from them if this is?
Well, I'm with you. In the movie, there's like one little beat. It's not a lot to go off of, obviously, but it's just the beat where she's given orders more so of like, hey, do your programming, which is to kill the bugs, which is kind of what we had in the tapestry. I think there were bugs and they destroyed and that caused the fire.
Yeah, but there's also the thing that wiped out humanity, and it's taking order from humans.
Yeah. Well, again, it's more so it wiped out the forces, which ultimately wiped out humanity.
Yeah, I get. I mean, maybe, but I don't.
And the fire, fire also probably killed off villages and stuff, and people who lived in those villages. But
maybe I do need to rewatch the movie again.
More or less. Anyway, but you're right. Look, guys, you're not wrong. It's very undefined. It's very surface. There's only so much they crammed in the movie. Even if they didn't, I don't even know if those things had explanations in the manga. But it is possible. I don't know.
I'm just glad I'm not alone because I was worried that going into this I'd make myself look like an idiot.
You gotta remember, let's put it in perspective like this, okay? Something that actually considered all the Miyazaki films, even some of the best, even your Totoros out there, okay? Your Totoros, it's a thing where there is I'm not going to put it like style over substance, but there is a lot of like there's an enjoyment of the visuals and just kind of the atmosphere, and there's a lot of just like there's a lot of enjoyment of the animation over story.
I mean,
And
Totoro
story
is pretty much almost purely a vibes movie, though. Like
that's
it
what I
really
mean.
doesn't-
So,
But at least you can still understand what's. At least you can still understand and follow what's going on.
well, yes. All
No,
I'm
that's
saying is,
very much to Totoro's credit compared to this movie. I agree.
yeah. So what I'm getting at is that it's a thing that I think Miyazaki's gotten better with over time. That if the story is less defined, he can still kind of like get over the hump with like the visuals, or at least like a through line that complements more so the animation. When the animation's the driving force, the story is like a very loose skeleton. And that's kind of what we have with like Totoro. And I think that this was like the early kind of messy prototype version of that. What we're getting here is like there's a skeleton of a story. Only difference is there's like a lot of lore maybe connected to it that's not really being risen to the surface, because apparently the original script was like a 3-hour movie, which they had to cut a lot of stuff out.
Ironically.
Which again, so even then, it's like preserving the 2 hours of the movie that he got. Still, there's going to be some missing blocks. But again, the idea that people are so wowed by the visuals, which they were at the time, this movie was very successful. People were they were wowed by it. They were wowed by, oh my god, and overanalyzing and like thinking about what does it say about nature. This is Wall-E before we get Wall-E. How amazing is that? Yeah, all that kind of.
Yeah, and again,
I
the
think
best
Miyazaki-
element of the movie is the animation. I'm not denying that. Like and I even think that this goes toe to toe with like literally the entire Ghibli canon as far as how impressive the animation is. I just don't have a fun time watching it because of how damn convoluted the plot is.
And
I feel like a
Miyazaki-
broken record here.
And he got his point with coexistence better with later movies such as Totoro and Howl's
Say it
Moving
with
Castle.
me, Princess Mononoke.
And I was leading up to that, but yes, even Ponyo.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
All right,
I
anyway,
love
so
Ponyo.
we all love Ponyo, Tiki.
That we did.
Fishy by the sea.
But I was building up to it, yes, and especially Princess Mononoke.
Bingo.
Mhm.
All right, so Nausicaa's sacrifice. So she returns the baby, ends up getting killed by the stampede in the process of returning the baby, because she was really hoping, like the way she saw this going was, I'm going to put the baby down, all the red eyes are going to go blue, which by the way, I love the whole red, the color eyes shift, by the way, because we have like the red eyes going to the blue eyes, and when they're dead, it's like gray eyes.
It's a simple storytelling tactic, but it works.
Yeah, it's nice. Anyway,
It's one of the most straightforward things in the movie, actually.
exactly. She was hoping like, hey, there's your baby. Let's not stampede towards the town, and they end up kind of doing that. But they
And then they end up stampeding. And they end up stampeding her and sending her into the sky.
yeah, it was the impact was pretty impressive on how we were kind of killing Nausicaa. There was kind of like, oh my god, we just killed her.
I mean, I literally I was just kind of like my eyes kind of went wide when I was like, oh crap, they actually.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So there were 3 endings presented to Miyazaki. Here's what the 3 endings were. Okay, original ending, it was going to be ambiguous, where it might have, I don't know if it just would have hard cut from there. Like I think it probably would have cut right before that, or something along the lines of like, okay, she presents the baby, it's stampeding towards her, credits. So that was one ending. Other ending, pure and simple dies. Ending. So basically, we would not have had what happens after this moment. The third ending is what we got, the revival. So we kill her, and then we reward her faith, and we bring her back. Those are the only 3 endings we had. Miyazaki they did not have the time to think on and have Miyazaki come up with like, okay, well, here's, he takes a lot of time in his processes, like as we've experienced with the other Ghibli movies. So this was early on, with only a year on the clock, and Miyazaki very steadfastly, he's like, okay, we really need the delay, but we're not going to delay. We're going to deliver on our release date.
Mhm, mhm.
So that's kind of why they're locked in. He still regretted, like, oh man, we could have come up with a better ending. So the Om revived Nausicaa. It's all very pretty. We do the stupid prophecy thing. She's wearing a blue dress and she's around these gold fields. Oh,
So what really bugs me about this is it's like, did we really have to go through the song and dance of like her changing outfits and then the blue blood?
yeah.
I mean, her outfit is fucking blue from the get-go, dude.
That's what's weird.
That
about it.
legitimately bothers me.
I really think they should have been a thing where the red dress is completely stained with blue blood, which then made it blue, but they didn't do that. Because remember, miraculously her outfit just turns into like a clean blue outfit.
Yep. Like
That's
perfectly
stupid.
symmetrical blue through the whole thing. Yeah.
That's what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, that's your thing. Jacob, you're right about it. That's what I'm saying.
It's like, miraculously, no other part of her is blue, just the blue outfit.
Yeah.
Despite being basically sprayed with ohm blood.
Yeah. It was a weird choice.
And it's just suddenly blue. Like that is something people have pointed out. Like, she's just suddenly wearing blue clothes.
So, I mean, look, the ending just as it is, I mean, in terms of this part of the ending, at least before we abruptly stop the movie, I like that we reward her environmentalism and reward, her respect for nature and everything, because she's been very pacifist and all this. She's tried to calm both sides. She's been very, I think she's earned, let's bring her back. Let's not kill off the nice girl.
And the Ohm apparently have the ability to bring people back to life.
Which is it's a big convenience. No, I have no qualm. Yes, it's
why not?
It's a leap.
I mean, is it? I mean, is it supposed to be like a Deus Ex Machina, or is it just like something? Oh, these ohms are like more mystical than we were led on to.
It's a prototype for like the deer thing in Mononoke, the Spirit of the Forest in Mononoke. It's a prototype.
It's a prototype.
Yeah, worked a lot better there. We had the weird mystical deer. Anyway, so the wind returns. I love the touch that the wind returns her glider. It's like, oh my god, again, the simplistic thing of like, oh, she got her glider back. Look, there it is.
The Wind Returns would actually be a good Ghibli movie name.
Maybe.
I know there's the Wind Rises, obviously, but
yeah, that's the thing.
Like, why they would ever make a sequel to The Wind Rises, who the fuck knows? But that would be a good sequel title.
I'm just saying, like, you could just even be a standalone title, then it doesn't have to have any title. But even though I don't know,
yeah.
I'm just kind of making conversation at this point.
All right, anyway, so the point being, the village rejoices. Okay, so the village rejoices, and we have our credits, which again, I like. Look, it's very abrupt, but I kind of like that. Miyazaki's done this with the other Ghibli movies for the most part. We have stuff that plays over the credits, at least some of the Ghibli movies, and it's not in all of. I think it kind of drifted out of doing it by the end. But I'm saying some of the early Ghibli movies, you had stuff that happens during the credits.
The one that comes to mind for me the most when it does that is Kiki's Delivery Service
And Pocoroso.
Fair. I don't think I've actually fully watched that one.
It's good.
I know it's like one of your guys' favorites.
I love it. So anyway, so we send the credits, we send the plot points that we send the Tolmekians away, and we rebuild the village. And basically, we do the Wall-E end credits, which I think was really funny. We rebuild the village in a way it's more harmonious with nature, which is kind of like the whole, we're playing the Peter Gabriel song while we see Wall-E and Eve kind of reconstructing humanity. It's pretty one-to-one.
Down to earth.
Down to earth, yeah. And then I love them very much. Like we have a very the last image of the movie, very Wall-E. It's like we have no more need for mask. We see the mask in the sand with like the little plant growing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the plant in the boot,
which is a nice bit of symbolism.
Yeah, pretty much. And again, kind of sadly relevant to a pandemic time. Sadly,
even if the movie itself does just kind of stop and it doesn't really have an ending, it just stops.
Yeah, pretty much. They ran out of film. They ran out of money and they ran out of film.
It's like bugs crash into Nausicaä. Bugs revive Nausicaä. Roll credits.
Yep. Right. Another Tiki, it could have just been credits. We hit her with the bugs. Credits. It could have been that. That was an option.
Nuts, dude.
Remember, that was an option.
That would have been. Who knows? Maybe that would have made it a bit more compelling. Like, like what people will do to save the lives of an innocent. That kind of would have made it a bit more compelling in a way. But not that her coming back to life. Not that her coming back to life was a bad choice per se. But
yeah. It's kind of like the movie Far and Away. That's the one with Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise, right? Wait, no, not. Hold on a second. Yeah, that's the Ron Howard movie, Far and Away. Is that the one with like? You guys ever see that movie?
No.
Well, forget my reference. And the point being, there's this movie where, we kill off Tom Cruise, and then we do this really stupid Ron Howard-y kind of thing. I mean, I love Ron Howard. This was like a really cheesy Ron Howard thing to do. It was like the most like dead spirit ascending and goes back in the body. We revived him inexplicably.
Opie.
Yeah. Verde Bachi was it was a Deus Ex Opie, if you will. Yeah. It was it's like, oh my god, it was the most schmaltzy thing you've ever seen. It was like dead and then back to life.
I mean,
Nicole Kidman's love, her movie theater love saved him. That's essentially what it was.
I guess it kind of makes more sense in this.
Yeah, no, this is a little more artful than that, but I'm just saying it kind of like, oh wait, it's kind of like we just inexplicably saved her.
At least the Fields of Gold, at least is kind of the prophecy does kind of make it less of a Deus Ex Machina, but
yeah,
but it still kind of is a Deus Ex Machina because I don't know if I'm even using. I know what a Deus Ex Machina is. I just don't know if it applies here.
No, it's absolutely a Deus Ex Machina, Jacob. It's absolutely the correct use of the term.
All right,
Oh.
it's like a foreshadowed Deus Ex Machina. If that makes sense,
I guess.
I don't know how to describe it because the prophecy does say like warrior clad in blue in a field of gold, and the Ohm's tentacles are the field of gold. I don't know. I'm just kind of reaching at this point.
All right. Well, with that said, that's pretty much the end of the movie.
Yep. We can just stop the podcast just like the movie just stops.
Let me
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Okay, I guess long and short of it, just at least give it something.
I know. I'm just giving it a hard time. Like I said, I didn't hate the movie. The movie is gorgeous, and there are elements of it that I really liked.
Yeah.
But again, still probably ranks as my least. And even it is proof that even even like the least good Miyazaki movie is still at least good.
Yeah. So I mean, look, Nausicaä. It's like I said. I think like we can probably sing the same tune here. Not our favorite, by no means bad. Again, it's the rock the Church of Ghibli is built upon. It's very key. It's the foundational brick. We need the layer. It's the original brick.
Without Cagliostro, without Nausicaä, we wouldn't have Ghibli.
That's right. That's absolutely right. These are the dominoes that need to fall, kids. But yeah, I mean, it's Miyazaki is kind of getting it out of his system. It was kind of how he broke into it, and it was pretty much like, okay, here's the kind of stuff I want to do. I'm going to do it better with Mononoke, but this is the stuff I want to do.
And it was this movie that a year later led them to feel like, hey, we should make our own studio.
Yeah, it was like, we got the talent, we got the tools, let's do it, man.
And we can make our own rules.
Yeah, and they did.
We can do our own original movies if we want.
We're the toast of Japan.
And here we are, almost 40 years later, celebrating his work.
And it's deliciously animated toast.
Oh yeah,
you better believe it is.
You better believe it.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
That's all good. Yeah, I don't really have anything to add, guys. Again, I feel like I'm kind of a broken record. It's like animation good, plot bad.
Let's talk about how great that breakfast animation was. So Hal gave him 3 different implements to eat the breakfast with, and he was
We could do a whole separate podcast after we're done with the 12 movies and just go back and talk about the food.
I can't remember who had the spoon, but I remember the Hal had the knife.
Like we should do like a separate podcast after we're done with all 12 movies and talk about the food.
Oh, Ghibli grub.
Ghibli grub, yes.
Oh god.
Anyway, yeah. So point being, I think we like the movie. We don't love the movie, but we like it. We respect the movie.
I respect it. I think respect is a good word. Yeah. Yeah. I don't
Definitely
dislike
respect
it.
the movie.
I can that's the thing. I can respect something and understand why it's significant, but not fully like it at the same time.
Yeah, it's not the top of the rewatch list unless you're like going for like a full film history kind of thing. Like we have to talk about how important Nausicaä
I don't. Let's just say I didn't feel like I wasted my time, and that's pretty much my bare standard for a lot of the movies I watch.
There you go. All right. So we want to thank the folks for tuning in.
Yeah, just go Geass. That's about it. And I think he tuned out a while ago.
Yeah, I'm sure, but I'm sure the next movie we talk about, he'll be very happy.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
All right, folks. The wind rises, which means it's time to board the autogyro and fly into the future, where the heron awaits us in the world of Miyazaki. Hi-yo, hi-yo.
Hi-yo.
Miyazaki go.
Miyazaki go.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Hi-yo.
Hi-yo, hi-ho, hi-ho.
Hi-yo.